Some of the greatest adventures have started with the words, "How hard could it be?" Or at least mine have. I wanted an outdoor kitchen so I could clean, cook, and prepare veggies from my backyard garden. But I needed a shelter for it and got the bright idea to build it myself. I'm a woodworker, so I knew a little about how to construct it. However, if you've watched my earlier video, you know it turned out to be a lot harder than I expected because woodworking is on a small scale and carpentry is often about making stuff on a big scale, and some of the rules are different. Call me determined, but I made it through setting up the post and now had graduated to setting up the rafters. So the next step was to put in the second set of support beams for the front and back. These would be double to hold the weight of the roof. But before this could be done, there were decisions to be made. I'll keep this short and simply say I decided to do a 12-3 pitch, meaning for every 12 inches of front length, my roof would rise 3 inches, so I could determine the height difference between the front and back support beams to get the right angle or pitch for the roof. You have no idea. I watched what felt like years of videos to figure that out. As you can see, I became an old hand in using braces to act as my second set of hands. This part was a lot easier because I have the first set of support beams in place, which meant I simply had to match them up. Worked like a charm and came out level. So all I had to do was put in temporary holding screws so I could repeat the process for the back beams. With the support beams in place, I was one step closer to adding the rafters. Next came creating what's called a bird's mouth, which would allow the rafters to rest on top of the support beams to ensure the stability of the roof. This required even more video watching because there are calculations you have to do to get the correct cut. I learned something here too. For the longest time, I'd been using my speed square to simply draw straight lines. What I learned from all that video watching is that it is a rigid calculator that helps you draw angles like the ones needed for the bird's mouth. Once I got the bird's mouth angle figured out, I ended up using a jigsaw to finish most of the cuts because I couldn't get my circular saw to complete the angles. Needless to say, this took some time and elbow grease, but all the bird's mouth cuts were done. Then The final cuts for the rafter tails at the end of each rafter. I learned you need to do this while creating an overhang to help direct water away from the foundation, which can wear away the stability of the structure. With the time change, it was beginning to get dark sooner, but I pressed on. To create even more stability for the support beams, I put in angle braces. I even took the added step of putting in blocks at the top of each angle brace to support the brace, while also keeping the support beam straight over time. This way, I have backups for backups. And now I was finally ready to set the rafters on the support beams to create the backbone of my roof. The rafters will be 16 inches apart, and to avoid errors, I marked that placement on the support beams. Somehow I was one rafter short, so I would need to make one last trip to get it. But in the scheme of things, this was minor, and I had reached a hard-fought high point in getting the project to the next level. While I thought about getting that extra rafter, I finally took a step back to look at the almost finished product. I remembered a video I watched of a guy in Michigan who built a large off-grid house, and his words of encouragement to never be afraid to try things and accept that you will make mistakes, but will also learn from them to create what you want. I realized I had learned a lot in the process so far. And as I took a stroll around my fall garden, I thought about how my new growth would add to my outdoor kitchen dream. See you next time.